Let's do this. Okay. Hello, welcome. I always freeze up. My name's Daniel. I'm Dungeon Master. I have the most fun and the least fun simultaneously of this group. The highs are high and the lows are low. I'm just kidding. No, this is the best job in the world because I get to play more than anybody else. Anyway, it is true. We're glad to have Davey back from traveling, even though he was like technically here last session, which shout out to joining the session from an airport terminal.
Yeah, it worked.
We don't have Falbin here today, but everybody else is all here. So before we start, character question. What is your character's perfect day? I think Theo, you came up with the question, so I would assume you have an answer ready to go.
I just was coming up with things. I didn't actually think about it.
Come up with something more.
Let's
Come
see. Perfect day would be working in my workshop with a chevron of geese overhead.
A chevron?
At which point,
like a flying V?
Yeah, a chevron. Yes,
okay.
chevron.
I've never heard it called that.
I would take out my weapon that I'm working on and take out the head one, because geese are just the worst creatures on the planet. And I'd take that sucker out, and then that would be my meal for the day right there. And I'd just go straight back to working on my weapons again. I would definitely be doing field testing, so they also serve that purpose. You know, and then I eat it, so no waste.
So sniping a flying V goose quarterback and then eating it.
Yep, and then going straight back to weapons testing.
What happens if you shoot the point of the V in geese? Do they form two separate Vs? Like, do they?
Yeah, it's like a hydra.
They mitosis style. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a hydra. Yep. At least these geese did.
Honk hydra. All right. Well, that's
so furiously taking notes.
All right. Well, who's next? Perfect day.
I guess I'll go for a perfect day. Yeah, it would probably end up being a fairly like active day, but not really something too crazy. Definitely, some sparring with anybody who wants to spar, preferably somebody who would actually give Shade a good challenge across a variety of martial techniques and stuff. Other than that, it would be, just kind of, I don't know, what would be the correct term? Like, I guess, building camaraderie with people, go around doing things with them, maybe help Theo move some stuff around the workshop for some of his larger projects, maybe do some target practice with Falbin with daggers and stuff, maybe try to understand Megas talking about Thelian magic,
yeah,
that type of stuff. And then just kind of, winding down the day, hanging out with Sprout, for like the evening meal, and just talking to people and kind of just hanging out.
That's great. That's really good. Okay, cool. A rich and wholesome day for Shade. Megas Theagenes.
Okay, so first, we're going to have to relocate the House of Eros from Astoria to Mitros.
Okay. Build, yeah. The superior brothel.
Yes. So it would start off like with a crisp morning run at dawn, followed by probably a light breakfast of fruits, so various fruit bowls. There would be a trip to the baths in Mitros. There would be some, let's see, a bit of evocation practice at the academy, blowing stuff up. Then probably a simple, hearty lunch of like breads and cheeses, homemade sort of thing. And then we would start getting into probably some concerts with some of his friends. Maybe a bit of like building something. Like he's not really a good builder, but like just helping out, like, I don't know, doing physical labor that results in something. So like, hey, there's some bricklayers building a wall. It's like simple, but sure, you can spend a couple hours just throwing bricks up on a wall. Yeah. Yep. Then we're going to like definitely spend like a fair portion of the afternoon in the House of Eros, and a family-friendly establishment. Oh yes, families are made there, and and then like probably starting from there, we're going to move toward greater and greater decadence. So like dinner is going to be like incredibly like fancy, like not just sweets, but like like very like high scale restaurant, sort of thing. Sure. And probably close out the day with probably closing out the day would start off with like a punk rock concert with his friend Damon in Stygian Row, transferring to probably partying with the satyrs until 2 in the morning. And not the lich Dragonlord Damon, but just your friend Damon. No. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no, totally. Totally the lich Dragonlord Damon. That would be awesome.
He's very punk rock. Probably. He'd probably just come up on stage and go up to the mic and go, which to mean. And the crowd goes wild. Came through the window. Yeah. That is a whole ass day. Technically, you went till 2 in the morning, which is 2 hours past the full day. So I'm gonna dock you some points there. But okay. I'm just kidding. No, no. And then I'm gonna add in like 4 hours of meditation that gets his rest in, and now we've got a full 24 hours. Perfect. Yeah. All right. Now we're technically correct, which is the best. And wrapping us up, how does Theagenes spend his perfect day?
He doesn't remember it.
Perfect.
The best day is the one he can't remember. Succinct. I love it. Okay. Well, who would like to? I know it's been 2 weeks since we had 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks or 3 weeks? 2 weeks.
I think it's 2 weeks.
2. Who would like to recap us?
It's actually been a year, so.
Got him.
Classic.
Got him.
I think I can do it.
Okay. I believe in you. You want that inspiration. You heard how you get it. Now you want it.
Yeah, that's right. I'm gunning for it. Okay, so last time I believe we started with exploring of the Ultros, and most of us decided to go down into the frozen section, and we found we knew was there a whole set of bones that were trophies left over from the genocide against the Fae, and most of the party went right past that. Diogenes and Ultria?
Yep. AKA Sprout.
Yeah.
Demetria.
Oh,
sorry.
Demetria, the elder dryad.
Yes. Diogenes and Demetria held back, horrified at what they saw, and made it their project to inter the bones respectfully. And
can I real quick just say that was one of my favorite developments of last session was the joined purpose between Diogenes and Demetria. I thought that was really cool.
I think it's gonna work out, especially since you guys have a bunch of baggage with Demetria, but Diogenes doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna, I don't know, form that connection. The others went ahead and looked at the dragon egg, and Magus contacted his buddy, who I guess is a dragon scholar of some kind.
Mm-hmm. Aesop.
And what was it? Aesop? Okay, Aesop. And he came as quick as he could and was excited to see the dragon egg. We also arrived at a great big forge where the god of the forge, what's his name?
Vulcan.
It's sort of appropriate that I can't remember anything.
It's fine. You're good. You're doing great.
We arrived there. He was friendly. Offered the forge and the help of some dwarves to inter the bones, but Dimitri and I rejected that and spent the entire 2 weeks doing that. The others did various activities. And we all taught Sprout some stuff. Different things.
Mm-hmm. She gained some actual character sheet abilities from your teachings.
That's right. I think I gave her something really useless though.
I think you got her loom proficiency. Weaver's kit proficiency. she made you what was it, like a
handkerchief?
A handkerchief, yeah.
Yep. And now she offers it to people when they sneeze.
Yeah. Which the real lesson was in spite of all this chaos and conflict, there's still manners and little social rules that just help things move along.
Yes, and Diogenes is all about ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember Magus and I had some kind of portentous talk.
What's your deal?
Yes, that's what it was. And I sort of explained that, and we jived on certain things, sort of fighting the man, but Magus doesn't get why I have to use the lotus. But I do. And other things that happened. There was a ship that showed up at the end.
Mm-hmm.
With a bunch of people. I don't know them, I don't think.
Valis, the queen of Mitros and also the goddess of wisdom, was at the prow of the ship.
Wasn't Magus's boyfriend on it too?
Which one?
That's a good question, actually. Magus has 6 canon named paramours.
Yeah, you're gonna have to narrow that down.
The one with magic and portals.
Chondrus? No.
He's not a boyfriend yet.
Also, he's a priest of Lutheria and probably wouldn't...
I feel like he gets around. He's got portals. Come on.
So he doesn't need to ride on a boat. You see what you're saying?
But sometimes he likes to party.
That's true.
People don't need to ride on a boat, but they do.
That is a great point. Honestly, that is a really good point.
Sometimes it's about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah. And the open bar. Yeah.
Exactly. Ocean breeze.
Yeah. There was a small royal boat with Valis, and you don't know what else on the boat, but at least Valis is coming to meet you.
Right. Other characters, guys, was there anything that I left out from your characters? Because that's what I remember.
Falbin, well, he's not here, so he won't speak up for himself. But Falbin's over the course of that few weeks of downtime was dealing with the consequences of being attuned to this cursed dagger that has the soul of Estor and the Gigan inside it. And he was having trouble sleeping and suffering from exhaustion from that. At one point, he had the beginnings of a dream, which was really just Lutheria coming to talk to him and getting really mad that he is not, trying to meet her in the middle. And she promised
death.
She wants him to be with her, and he is not willing to participate. And so she is taking the gloves off, as it were, and has revoked her vow of causing no pain to Falbin. And she mentioned also a presence that haunted Falbin for a long time that has been sort of absent for a while, and that she was letting whatever that is off the leash.
Gosh, that was really important, and I left it all out.
It's okay. It's all right. It's technically only his character knew that. So, anyway.
And I also remember that I talked with Falbin about removing the curse from, or at least making it possible for him to drop the weapon. He's not into that yet, and I have concerns.
Yeah, and we're not going to find out this week how that goes. There was also Theo did a little craftsmanship with Vulcan. Theo, do you want to real quick describe what went down?
Yeah, we got Rue Poot 2.0, beefed him up. It's exoskeleton that he can enter and leave. Great stats, got some new abilities. It's pretty sick. You're going to have to see him in combat. Maybe we'll get to try it out on this new boat. Got a sick shotty now.
No, that's Valis's boat. What are you doing?
Well, we'll see how things go down. Got a new shotty that needs to be tried. Yeah, boom.
Boom. Boom. I guess I should give you a new stat block for Rue, or you can. I'll do that later. Yeah, great recap. Seriously. So take ye inspiration, Diogenes. There was, I guess, one other possible retcon. Magus, you had mentioned potentially making some visits to Astoria during that downtime. Do you want to bring that up?
Yeah, so going back to the house of Eros, here we have Magus spending about a month in a cave with a bunch of guys, and not that he has anything against guys, but maybe not these guys.
Not romantic potentials.
Yeah, not really. So how would the rest of the party feel if every once in a while he just took his phantom steed that can go at 13 miles, cover 13 miles in an hour, and just make a quick day trip off to Astoria to blow off some steam?
What? What?
Just take one of the sending stones to make sure if anything happens, you can get a hold of us.
Use protection. Be safe.
Magic is awesome. And that's all I'll say about that.
Okay, yeah. So in that case, real quick, I have your new Rue available now. I have him in the workshop. He's called Rue Big.
Oh, I was changing the stat block on this one.
Well, you should probably have two separate ones because he can go in and out of small and big. So Rue Big is just the Bronze Dragon Wormling stat block that we agreed on. And it should be basically exactly as is, but we can customize stuff later. So with Magus, traveling to and from Astoria, I think the main things that occur, how many trips do you make? Do you go a few times or once a day?
At least once a week.
At least once a week. Okay, so we'll say like 3 trips. The main thing you see en route to and fro. Actually, I'm gonna change from the music because this is like my recap music. Let's do this other. Shout out to the I've never played it, but the video game Humankind, which is the source of the main source of Odyssey specific campaign music that I use. There's 3 or 4 tracks that have this sort of light strummy plucking stuff, and it just feels very Greek, and I like it a lot, and I did get permission to use it. Apparently the game is only mixed reviews on Steam, or else I would play it. But the music is lovely. Okay, so the main thing you see on your treks to and fro, you probably don't see it the first time, but the second time you see a band of centaurs on a faraway hilltop, and roll a perception check.
Oh,
they're really far away, but we'll see what you see.
Yeah,
a dirty 20. Okay, yeah. So you see, it's actually 2 bands of centaurs. One of them is that same blue mane group, the ones that you interacted with, and they painted your hair, not yours because you didn't right. consent to having your hair dyed. But there's another band, and they have sort of tiger stripe hair. But both of them are sort of looking at you sternly with arms crossed over their chest. They're not in a warlike pose, but they see you and they seem a little pissed. As you're in yeah, go ahead.
Let's see. Did Hukar teach us any sort of salute or greeting? When he sent us to get his nephews, I think.
I'm trying to remember.
He gave us the horn.
He
gave us the horn.
Right.
Which I still have.
Shade has.
Which you still have. I do not.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, do you think that's something you would have been hey, if I'm traveling across the steppes where the centaurs are, it might be good to have this just in case? Is that something?
Nope.
Nope? Okay, cool. So what do you do?
I will still. Yeah, I feel like it's appropriate. I will stop. I will stop my steed, and I will turn, and I will face them. I will give some manner of military salute that I might have seen Shade do at one point, and I assume they're further than 120 feet away.
Oh yeah, they're a good part of a mile away.
Okay, since I don't know who exactly it is, I cannot send a message to them, so I will just do that. And
okay, yeah, I acknowledge your presence, and I try to respectfully acknowledge you. There's a second you deliver your greeting, and then they all turn away and sort of flick their tails as they gallop away.
Well, all right, I keep going.
Cool. The other thing is that you're doing your thing in Astoria at Eros. You definitely run into Pythor at some point when you're there.
Okay.
And I think he he sees you and he's surprised. Hey, Magus, good to see you. What, how's it going?
Things seem to be going generally well. We're wanted criminals in Mitros, but on the plus side, we have obtained the Ultros. And it appears to be ours under fairly peaceable and solid conditions.
By the 5, which includes me. That's fine news, Magus. That's incredible. Have you given any more thought to to me perhaps joining? That's okay.
To be honest,
I won't punch you if you say no.
Things have been. It's been one thing after another. Sorry. I can absolutely bring it up with the rest of the group when I return.
Yeah, just let me know. I mean, I'm fine here, and it's lovely to spend time with Honora. You know, she's doing fantastic work here, and it's honestly really nice to not have to sign papers every day. I didn't know what I was signing half the time anyway, but it is starting to get a bit boring here, and just let me know.
Well, certainly. Yeah, I think right now we're just hanging out back at the mine, so I'm not sure how exciting it would be on that end either. But if we start heading off on adventures, I'll send a message your way.
Very good. How's Father doing?
He is in his element. Perhaps literally.
Oh, good. I swear, if he gave me one more silly Christmas present, or whatever the fantasy equivalent of Christmas is here, Vulcanalia. Anyway, well, good. It's good to hear. Anyway, enjoy. I know where you're off to, my boy.
Oh, yes.
You hate to play second fiddle to me, I'm sure. Anyway, see you later.
I just smile and leave.
Let's say that, like, the next time you visit, you have a chance to ask the party about Pythor.
Yeah. I think I mentioned this once before when he first brought it up, but I'll bring it up to the party again, that Pythor is getting bored and wants to come on adventures with us, which it would be good to have, like, the god of battle on our side, but also, like, he is still bound by the oath and cannot take action against servants of the Titans or those acting on their behalf.
But you can still defend things, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think they can act in self-defense, right?
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So if you was, say, on the Ultros and someone tried to board it, he could fight back?
I don't know. I think they might have to attack him directly.
So he could jump in front of a spear and then fight back?
I wouldn't try to get the Furies on a technicality.
Thank you. Yeah, mechanically, mechanically, he would just sort of be there. Occasionally there would be a situation where it's like you're clearly not fighting enemies, or you're clearly not fighting allies of the Titans, and but I'm not potentially sending him with you to overshadow you at all by having a god of battle with you. It's mostly just he's going to be around.
And there's potential of, like, I mean, we have already agreed to bring Demetria along. And I imagine at some point we're going to be heading to Yondor. And if however we are trying to make that entrance, would having the god of battle present with us be an issue?
Yeah.
I mean, the thought is we probably could, if once we know we're heading to Yondor, we could consider dropping them off somewhere else, or even back here or something before we go. I mean, I personally think it would be great to have a god of battle kind of riding along with us.
Okay. Anyone else have thoughts?
Sounds like it could be fun.
Any objection, Theagenes?
I don't know the guy.
Fair.
When we first met, he was in a drunken stupor. I slapped him in the face. He punched me nearly to death, and now we're friends.
And just to be clear, that punch it was one punch. It wasn't repeated.
You're only like level 3 at the time, but still.
Yeah. It doesn't take much to kill a level 3 wizard.
Well, I have no objection.
Okay. I will let him know. I will also make sure he's aware that there may be times when he needs to not engage, and that may be part of it.
Cut to you explaining this to Pythor, and he says, "Great!" as he high fives you as he's leaving Arrows, and you're walking in. I'll see you there.
We enter different wings, don't we? So. Oh
yeah. Oh no, I made sure to visit your wing. No, I'm just kidding. No, he has his own wing.
I slap him again. No.
I'll be there in a few days. What do you say?
Sounds fair. Also, while I am in Astoria, I imagine at some point I would happen across Uncle Timon, and I will check in with the basilisks, because last time we checked in, he said they were a little more than a month away from hatching, and it's been about a month.
Yeah, like on the third visit, how do you try to find Uncle Timon?
I do exactly what he said. I open up a sewer grate and I lean down and I yell, "Hey, Timon!"
He pops up out of a different sewer grate. Says, "Hey, Uncle May," or oh my God, no, you're not my uncle. I'm your uncle. Nephew Magus. It's great to see you. I'm sorry I smell really bad. The basilisk just woke up like last night, and all kinds of stuff came out of those eggs. Basilisk.
Prestidigitation.
God. Okay. Well, I hope that
just
doesn't
immediately.
Is this gonna like mess with them, like with their bonding? Like, are they gonna like not know who I am when I come back down?
I guess we'll have to find out.
Can you put the stuff back? No, I guess not.
Unprestidigitate.
Can you unprestidigitate me? Like, I love smelling like a daisy, but no, they're little, man. Their eyes haven't opened yet, but they're crawling around. They're wriggling, man. They're wiggling.
All right. Should we work on? Do we keep them here, or do you think they would be better suited to be back in the mines?
Well, think of it this way. I'm the only one down here in the sewers. And if they're cool with me, then the only things that are gonna get potentially petrified are the rats, and that's fine because I'm a rat hunter. So if we take them to the mines, I'm assuming there's a bunch of dwarves there, like mining.
This is true.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe bad, potentially bad.
Okay.
Until we've had a chance to train them,
And build their sunglasses.
And build them sunglasses. Yeah. Oh my God, who said that? Who said that? That's a great idea. Did somebody say build sunglasses?
I would actually be. I would be using the sending stone to contact Factabase and say, "Hey, the basilisks have hatched, and like we can." Timon is suggesting to keep them with him until they've been trained.
Jay would get the rest of the party together. Okay, so people there, how are we training them?
Are you talking to me? Is there somebody talking to me?
Here, I just handed the stone to Timon.
Whoa, hey. I thought I was hearing voices. Different voices. Yeah, hello, Shade.
Hey, Timon. How's everything going?
I'm good. Is this how I used to sound? Is this different? It's been a while since we talked, and I can't really remember how I sounded.
You sound pretty normal to me.
Okay, I feel like I'm gonna like listen back to something that, maybe like a year ago, and I'm gonna be like, oh no, this is a completely different voice. But
Timon is going full Deadpool.
We'll roll. Hey, it's been like that, same as it ever was, nephew. Anyway, so yeah, I got the basilisks here, and they haven't opened their eyes yet, but I just got this great idea to make them like sunglasses or blinders, so we can transport them, and yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, are you gonna
have like a flip up feature so we can like open the glasses when they're in combat so they can zap people?
Now I don't know how to do
That's how it
that.
works, right?
I don't know how to do that, but I'm assuming nephew Theo knows how to do. Second nephew?
Exactly.
Nephew.
Yeah. No.
Twice Are you there, Theo?
It's a visored helmet. Yeah. No. I'm on. This is a long distance call, so we're all standing around the stone.
It's a party line.
Yeah.
We put
Theagenes
the
has
stone
some
on
lotus.
speaker.
I love it. I love it.
This is a speaker
Just put it in
stone.
the metal. We just put it in the bottom of a brass bowl, so it's just like, like yeah,
Yes.
out.
It's a fascinating
Conference mode.
modern age we live in. Okay, so we'll get the basilisks over to the boat in the next couple days before they, get too ornery, and then we can get them comfortable there, get them like bonded with you guys so that you don't have any trouble. Yeah, sounds great. It's good to see you guys again, or hear you. Although I can picture you pretty well.
Yep, we
Good to
get
hear from
charged
you,
by the
too.
minute, so we gotta head out here.
Do you really?
Long distance is very expensive.
Really?
Yeah, yep. See you soon,
Theo-
Tim and
Yeah.
oh wait,
Theo,
we're breaking up.
Theo, Magus, tell me the truth. Did Theo hang up on me because he doesn't like me and doesn't want to talk to me? Does he know that we're related, even though it's not quite as related as you and me? I'm cool. Magus,
Oh, look,
the
it's
first-
back on. Hello.
whoa.
I think the first part of that statement was true.
I'm a cool guy. I mean, I live in the sewers and I hunt rats. I'm a cool guy. Remember who got you these basilisks in the first place? It was me, Uncle Timon.
I think the first part of your statement about Theo was true.
Hey, you know what? Once I figure out what the hell you're talking about, I might be offended. But until then, love you, nephew, and I will see you in a few days. Anything to worry about on the way there? Probably no like semi-angry centaurs. Yeah, I thought not. Okay, see ya.
Cool.
That can't possibly go wrong.
Nope.
Travel with Python.
What was that? Somebody say something?
Yeah. Pythor may be coming to visit us soon. Just travel with him.
You got it. I know where all his secret hideouts are. I can find him anywhere.
That's terrifying.
Okay, so oh, can we be done with that? Oh no.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Back up to present.
The other thing before we get into like Valis' ship arriving, Shade, since you are back,
Yes.
actually back, do you want to go into more detail regarding the Radiant Dragon Egg in the lower deck, or do you want to roll that into like the events of this session?
Well, I mean, I was gonna say that would be part of like a little slight retcon for that stuff, because during that 2-week period, somewhere in there, after touching the egg, Shade would start to remember bits and pieces about the dragon oaths, and that's something he would kind of, at one point, pull the party together and kind of explain to them what he remembers of it and what he wants to do going forward.
Well, let's do that. Yeah, if we're doing it retcon style, let's do it.
Yep. So I don't know. This is probably maybe a week into our stay back, or back at the mines. And Shade would kind of be like, "Hey, I need to talk to everybody. I want to talk to you guys about dragons." So after he gets the party together, basically, so after touching the egg in the hold of the Ultras, some of my foggier, distant memories somewhat resurfaced, particularly about the Dragonlord oaths. Now, from what the original oaths I can remember go, they're between, I guess, quote-unquote mature dragon, a dragon that is self-aware enough and intelligent enough to know what it's getting into with the bond. It is a mutual bond that goes between both dragon and rider. However, there is another bond. I never personally taken this bond because, well, from my recollection, Iserand was already ancient before I was born. So, he was very much a mature dragon. But there is a bond you can take with either an unhatched egg or even a wormling. That is effectively an oath of guardianship, where you swear to defend them, protect them, and take care of them until they mature enough to make the decision for themselves if they wish to proceed to a mutual bond or not. It is based on free will. So, while I don't perfectly recall all the particulars, I feel drawn to make this oath of guardianship over the egg in the ultras. I figured I should at least discuss it with all of you before just proceeding on my own. As I know I'm not the only one with Dragonlord Helm that would be capable of bonding a dragon, and this is the first one found. Does anyone have problem with me taking the oath of guardianship over this egg?
No.
Go for it. Love it.
All right. So with that, basically the next time Shade really has, I guess, a good opportunity to, he would go down to the Ultros, into the hold, and lay his hand on the egg and speak the oath, which I didn't actually write up an actual oath, but
that's okay.
It would be something. It would be said in. I would say Magus. If Magus is there, he would recognize it as Draconic, but it would be like an old dialogue of Draconic, and it would basically roughly translate to, "I vow to protect you and defend you and nurture you to the point where you can become a full-fledged dragon in your own right." And that's basically it.
That's great. Are you alone when you're doing this, or did the others come with you?
I mean, Jade wouldn't go out of his way to invite everybody, but if anybody noticed him going, he wouldn't be like, "No, leave me alone." If anybody wanted to come with him.
I think Aesop, if you don't mind, Aesop would be like, I need to see this. Like, this is...
yeah, that would be fine.
This is...
I'm assuming Aesop is just kind of loitering around the egg most of the time anyway.
Pretty much. He's been sketching it, and so yeah, he's like, he's taking down your oath as you say it. Yeah, Magus, Theo, Theogenes, or any of you also down there?
Yeah, I'd probably be around.
Okay. I think that at this point I'm probably cleaning bones, so
yeah, sure.
I'll take a break and watch it happen.
Yeah, you're in and out of the same room basically.
I mean, if everybody else is there, I'll get some popcorn.
There you go. Rue's like, "Yeah, Theo, you never swore nothing to me. I feel kind of underappreciated."
I feel like our bond has always transcended words, Rue. I don't think we ever needed that.
Still, you show a bird how you feel every now and then.
I just gave you a super cool upgrade.
Hey, what have you done for me lately?
You know how long that took? Come on, I had the god Vulcan come in and help me on that project.
Taking shortcuts. You know who's going to be the one wearing that and taking it. I'm going to be a big target flying up there in the air. They're going to be shooting me now.
I mean, what have you done for me? Have you said any words for me?
Oh,
this goes two ways, bud.
He's saying how many pinion storms I've whiffed in the last 2 months. That's all for you, baby.
Well, I wasn't gonna bring it up, but on that topic, we need to work on a new targeting system.
Guys, read the room. Shade is over there being serious right now.
Sorry.
Rue like bows his wings. I'm sorry.
You'll see after he's bonded.
So yeah, Shade, you do this ritual, and you feel I mean, something like this isn't just words. I mean, just like your bond, your Dragonlord mark or your dragon mark, it's not just an oath. It is something tangible that has happened. And how do you feel like that sort of presents itself to you, like physically or otherwise?
I mean, I feel like as Shade says the oath, like that, as it goes through his dragon, the dragon mark starts like tingling, like more and more intensely to the point of like pain as he finishes the oath, and as he finishes it, it just like washes away, like sudden relief of the pain, and it feels like warm and kind of like bolstering almost.
That's great.
After, like now in with the new guardianship oath.
Yeah, I love that. Do you think now would be a good time for that prepared thing?
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of where I wanted to go with that. So it's now any time that I think would fit within. I would feel like it would be within the next few days or something.
Yeah, I think right as you do this bond, I think is perfect. And this is something that, would you say it is just that you hear, or that everyone in the room hears?
This would be just Shade.
Okay.
You tell them about it, but let me scroll back up to what I have written down.
Yeah, if you want to read it really quick, you can.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about the stuff on either side of what was already recorded.
Sure. Okay. Then I'll go ahead and I just have an MP3 of it that I'm just gonna pop through my soundboard, so you should all be able to hear it. If the volume's not loud enough, just say up, and I'll turn it up.
Well, just a second. Let me set the scene.
Okay.
Because this would be like what happens. We're all basically one of the nights we're hunkering down for the night. You know, we're sleeping and stuff. So everybody's going to sleep. When Shade goes to sleep, falls asleep, and he kind of goes into like a dream vision state, and he's just floating in endless void. No lights, nothing, no depth, distance, or anything. Suddenly, two massive eyes made of shimmering multicolored lights appear in the void before Shade. And then...
Ooh, okay. And just somebody say up if it's not loud enough.
I have seen thee, mortal. Thou wert bound to one of my progeny. I know each such bond, and I know each one's end. I witnessed your bond end, and I feel him who ended it. I grant thee a spark of my flame to punish those who would bring harm to my kith and kin, and to avenge your bond. To avenge Riserand. Be worthy of this, mortal.
So with that, as that ends, Shade hears the deep inhalation he knows heralds a dragon's like breath attack. and then the void just dissolves into blinding light and pain. The rest of the party be startled awake by Shade screaming. His whole bedroll is basically on fire, and he's rolling around on the ground screaming, trying to douse the flames. And after a few frantic moments, the flames do subside, but the glow of flames doesn't. As Shade kind of staggers to his feet, his clothes just burnt, holes in them. You can see like parts of it still charred and smoking. He stands up and turns around, and they can see his skin and fur are actually glowing faintly. And as he looks at them, they see his eyes, which were, just the piercing blue before, but now they literally burn with their own aquamarine light that slowly, after a moment, begins to fade. Don't know what happened. As he just starts taking off his charred clothes, just... Oh.
Who reacts first?
I would have been there and, like, almost casting, like, frost spells, and then the flames went out.
Like, as you see it... So, like, well, go ahead, say what you're going to say.
Advanced night terrors?
I don't think so. And as you see Shade, like, take off, like, the rags of his shirt, you notice on his dragon mark, right over his heart, is now a circle of... It's just a disc of shimmering multicolored colors. Just, that's all it is. And it completely changes the color of his skin and fur there, but you can still see the dragon marks through it.
Yeah, that disc kind of looks like I just popped it in the chat, like that.
Well, it's never a dull moment with you.
I'll say, Kyra chimes in.
Yeah, not dull. Yeah, oh. I don't... Oh, Shade's hands are still, like, shaking. I saw eyes, massive eyes. They were shaped, I guess, like dragons. And a voice spoke to me. Oh. Basically, it said something about giving me part of his fire to avenge Riserand. No. I don't... What is this? I guess... Shade looking at the circle on his... Now over his heart. That's what the eyes look like.
Dude, you have the craziest nightmares.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't think I've had one like that before.
Aesop has like sprinted in, and he's like half dressed and like clearly had been asleep. And he's like, wait! I heard something about dragons and Riserand and dragon marks. What is happening? What is happening? And then he sees the mark, and he says, "Oh, it's him." He spoke to you.
Him.
Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome.
Damn you, Daniel.
No, I only know what what I learned from Balmitria before she was slain. It's the god of dragons. His name is Io. He apparently his true form is unknown, but he's never appeared, not in physical form, and I from what I learned from Balmitria, he exists somewhere in the astral plane, and I think to have spoken to him, you were not here, Shade. I think you may think you were dreaming. I think you were whisked away from here. Kyra chimes in. Wait, now that's not possible. Like, Kentamane, that's not possible. And then Aesop says, "Well, I mean, what is a Titan to the god of all dragons? I feel like he does what he wishes."
It sounds like a dragon. Okay. That's not terrifying whatsoever.
Well, you're still alive, so I think you're doing just fine.
Yeah. Oh, I think I'm going to go take a bath and put on some new clothes.
Okay, I'm going to follow you and record everything you say. Is that all right?
Whatever.
Kyra says, "I'm going to draw you."
Whoa.
It's for science,
like
Magus.
French lady.
His physical description keeps changing, Magus. What's a girl supposed to do?
Like, it's just the combination when he said he was going to take a bath, and you said you were going to draw him.
Well, it will be all visible then, won't it, Magus? You can
Maybe you don't. How about nobody follow me? I'll just grabs his extra tunic. I'll be fine on my own.
You sure you don't need any help?
Hey, Shade. Some people say my wings are like super abrasive.
His pinion storm is on point.
You'll be
If I
exfoliated.
need a shave, you'll be my first option.
That's what I'm talking about.
I thought cats were public bathers anyway.
That's right. You're not a real cat. I knew it.
I don't think I ever said I was. She just walks out of the room.
He's a big cat phony. That's what he is. Demetria just walks past in the hall and just keeps walking after. Anyway, holy crap. Okay. And remind me, is that that is part of an 8th level thing you took?
Yeah, that's part of my feat
right.
that I took.
Just so you
Basically
guys
explaining how it happened.
know that is coming from a level up thing. Everybody else I'm sure sleeps wonderfully the rest of the night.
I'm just gonna say Shade doesn't sleep the rest of the night.
So Shade, while you're bathing, there's a voice from the hall. It says, "Shade, hi, it's Aesop again, the Dragonlord historian."
Yes, Aesop.
I won't come in. I was thinking, the egg that you touched, the radiant dragon egg, the one in the bottom of the Ultros.
Yes, the one you said you didn't know what it was.
Yes, so I haven't seen anything like it, but I did some more digging, and it turns out I made a hasty assumption last time. The egg definitely had a mithril dragon parent due to its lightness. But the white gold aspect is actually a product of a silver dragon parent.
So, silver and mithril, as in Volmitria and what was... starts with an S, I can't remember it off the top of my head. Sibyl Corax.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Oh, you're right. Oh, you're right. I'm sure that's coincidence. That would be that would be one egg. Could it be? I mean, it would have to have been incubated for centuries.
No expert on dragon reproductive phenomena, but I was led to believe that that's possible with dragon eggs.
Yes, well, so my understanding is that the egg's current state would indicate that its conditions would be nearly perfect to incubate that egg, which means it should have hatched by now if it's been there that long. If it's in an incubative state, that's preparation for hatching. Now, either something is wrong or the Ultros has somehow managed to keep it in perfect stasis. I mean, my only guess is that an egg like this needs not just cold, but brilliant sunlight in order to hatch. Perhaps a mountaintop.
Well, then maybe I'll be going for a hike soon. How are your hiking boots?
Well, not so great, I would say. But where would you go? I mean, I think Mount Vulcan would be too close to Mitros to be considered safe, and I think the necropolis is the highest peak around, but it's always shrouded by fog and cloud.
Well, I feel like we have a friend at the necropolis that might be able to help us with that.
Who?
Damon?
I'm so sorry. All my brain power is like locked onto one topic right now. Yes, Damon. Of course. The Damon that I've known for centuries. Yes.
Yes. He might be able to help part the clouds.
Well, let's call him before we make the hike, please.
Come on. Where's your sense of adventure?
Not at the top of the crazy, spooky Necropolis Mountain. No, thank you. Cool. Okay, I think with that, is there anything else going on in that moment?
No, not on Shades End.
Magus, Theo, Theagenes, anything?
I'm good.
Okay. Let's see. So we'll cut to where we ended last session, which was Magus.
I do have one other thing.
Oh yes.
One other thing.
Go for it.
That I said it while we were still on the Ultros before we got here. But I would have Magus identify the freaking mask I got from Gaius.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
It's been riding around for weeks.
So Magus. So Magus casts. Or do you do it? Do you cast Identify on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you cast Identify on the mask. It seems to be basically perfectly mundane, except for some enchantment that allows for normal sight plus dark vision through the where the metal eye shapes are.
Interesting. Hey, Theo, you want dark vision?
That's a pretty sick lamp as it is. I don't know if I want to be impinged upon with dark vision. But you know, Yeah.
I'll let you borrow it if we need it.
Okay.
Just don't let Gaius catch you wearing it. So with that, we'll cut to Magus. You have you heard the boat was coming. I think Rue was scouting, and you swim out under the waterfall that conceals the mithril hideout. And you surface to see this ship, and it's about like maybe 50 feet long, maybe a little longer, but it's perfectly sized for river travel, and it's got about a dozen rowers on it. You know, not at all a ship of combat. It is just a royal barge essentially. And at the helm, or not that helm, standing at the stern is the bow, sorry, I know ships, is Valis. So what do you do?
So I surface with kind of like my hair matted across my face. It's like, oh, yeah, my lady.
She raises one eyebrow.
I'll get the door for you. And I swim back in, and it's like, oh, it's Valis. Pull the lever, Theo.
Oh, the lever, Rue!
This one? I think it's the only lever in this whole damn place.
You got the mask now?
Throwing the lever. And Rue throws the lever, and the waterfall parts just in time for the royal barge, which is just gilded out the ass. I mean, there is gold all over this thing. And same as Valis. Valis is wearing basically just a gold dress, which is kind of her typical thing. And they dock, at the dock, and she makes her way up with a small retinue. Most of the crew stays on board the ship. You can see now that it's kind of loaded down with what appears to be provisions and gifts, animals, all kinds of stuff. And she proceeds up the steps and greets you. Just, heroes, hello. Yeah, good to see you too.
What's up?
What's up?
What? Oh.
What's up?
To what do we owe the honor? And were you planning on staying?
No.
I say, looking at all the provisions.
No. I cannot stay. I bring you gifts from the people of Mitros. May these animals gifted from our most respected farms prove fine sacrifices. I've also come to give you my blessing and counsel. Oh, and I also discovered this strange lizard creature on the boat coming here. He does not speak much, but he is very polite. He seemed to think we were sailing to his island. And then this like little lizard folk like hops up the stairs and
Hey, we recognize him. I assume this is the one from the slavers.
Yep. He gives you like a big tooth-filled smile. So, do you know him?
We've met, and we said that once we obtained a boat, we might contact him again to give him a ride.
Well, I think he thought I was that ride, but like I said, he's very polite. I think he ate one of our goats on the way here, though. He's... Anyway, he just stands there politely. She says, I do want to first report on your status, as it were, in Mitros, being wanted and whatnot. So the evidence you obtained was reviewed by a council of my appointment and presented in a public forum. Under great pressure from the forum, Acastus has sentenced Proximo, the head of the Minotaur Market, to death by the Hydra.
Oh. Interesting. Am I familiar with this method?
Yeah, so you know that there is basically under the court of Mitros, there is a hydra, like a three-headed, not quite a dragon, but like a draconic creature, more instinct guided than intelligent, with 3 heads, using some combination of those heads and the stuff that it puts out of them, kills criminals deserving of it.
That is interesting. You may also want to know that during our journeys, we happened to have a run-in with Kentamane while we were being pursued by the Black Hands, and he was not pleased that they were using his name in their endeavors. And we have made not an oath, but kind of an agreement to help him hunt them down and exterminate those who would profane him in such a manner.
Well, I had heard the rumors about your means of transit into the river. That is quite interesting and provides me a bit of smug satisfaction, though it will not ever see public knowledge, I'm sure. But in terms of Proximo's court appearance, well, he will be put to death later this week, probably during the games. But regarding
this week,
yes, regarding that, your wanted status has been annulled, and you may return to Mitros. But my husband would not relent without some penalty for your unsanctioned actions within the city. So you have unfortunately been banned from entry in the Great Games. You do not all seem not so broken up about it. I'm guessing.
You kidding me? I'm gonna cry myself to sleep tonight.
Are you lying?
I was.
Yes. We've had so much other stuff going on.
Theo, don't even. Shade, are you a little upset?
I am a little upset. I was hoping to spar with some of the highest competition. I even heard that the Amazons were sending a contingent this time.
Yes, the Amazons, possibly even some of Sidon's children.
Sidon's children? As in Gigans?
As in demigods or demi-titans, yes.
Oh.
Empyreans. Seems like cheating, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah. Do I know of any besides Versi?
I don't know that you know their names. I think you know that there is rumor that Sidon has children, and that typically they're not allowed to compete in the games because it's kind of cheating. But this being basically like a century, like an end of a century anniversary game, and also sort of close to the end of the other piece, Sidon's like, kind of do whatever you want. So, yeah.
Could we send Pythor?
I'm afraid the gods are not allowed. Seems...
what a shame.
Yes. Anyway, my husband is quite wrapped up in the preparations for it. Theagenes, have we met?
No, Your Majesty.
Valis, you may call me Valis. I'm pleased to make your acquaintance. So one thing about Valis is she has nearly the ability to read minds. She is the most insightful individual probably in all of Thelia. So if there's any like surface level feelings, they are basically laid bare to her. So is there anything that would be sort of like on Theagenes' forefront of his mind that might be incited?
Well, Mitros is the enemy of what's the name?
Arisia. Arisia.
Arisia, but I don't know. Theagenes doesn't feel any personal loyalty to Arisia, or at least whatever loyalty he had is long since sort of he's left it behind. But if he realizes that he might be perceived as Arisian by her, so that
I like that.
Possible.
So she'll say something like, I can tell you're Arisian. You carry yourself as one of their warrior monks do. But you seem to have no... You seem almost embarrassed to be associated. Well, things are always more complicated and nuanced than they would be at the surface. I see you as an ally of myself. Mitros is my home, but it is my home because of who it represents. I try to be a pillar of it because it is what remains of my mother. But its petty squabbles with Arisia are nothing of my make, I assure you.
I myself have left Arisia behind a long time ago, and I consider myself to have no home, but only wish to bring peace to all the peoples who pass from this land.
The greater the peace we bring, the more that everywhere feels like home to anyone. So I thank you for your work, even in the realm of the dead.
Little bow, little Theagenes bow.
She dabs.
Magus has an existential crisis.
She doesn't dab. I'm going to delete that. I'm not. She kind of looks over her shoulder at the Ultros and she remarks, I was preparing to send out a call for brave sailors to help the crew the Ultros, but you've once again proven able to surprise even the very wise. Referring to the treants that are, that you can see like their roots and branches sort of slightly extending out of many of the porthole windows at the ore deck of the ship. She says, no. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, well, we were able to, I guess, build on our agreement with Demetria and hopefully partner for a deeper peace with the old wood. And this is where it led us.
She smiles and nods. She says, know, though, that there are scores of Mitrosians who would absolutely voyage with you. They would consider it the honor of a lifetime, and should your situation change, you need only ask. And on that note, may I have a tour of the ship?
Of course.
And we don't have to like go through every room, but like from this point on, you guys are walking amongst the decks of the Ultros. I think is there anything you guys point out as you guys are walking?
I don't know that there particularly is. Somebody else had something. I mean, it's basically just we haven't done a whole lot to it other than clean it and get all the bones out.
Right.
Over here is our ballista. It has great capacity. We could use it for fishing. We've already killed a sea serpent. We've used this anchor to hold things. We have a freezer.
We've used the sail to help push the ship forward.
Yep. We've got
she starts
the rudder. That moves.
She starts to look at you. You realize you are speaking to the goddess of wisdom who pretty much knows how ships work.
Well, you may notice on the south side of the ship, there's a telescope.
South? Which direction is south?
Just south of where we're standing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kyra appears over and she's like,
north.
Valis, are you giving sass? Is that what I'm hearing? She just sort of smirks. When you remark on the ballista, she says, about that, I should tell you what I have brought you. First off, I have 8 magical ballista bolts, gifted from the city centurions. I have 5 of each, greater potions of healing, potions of climbing, potions of resistance, gifted generously from the academy. I also have 4, or is it 5? I think it's 4 now.
5.
It's 4 now.
Definitely 5.
And over on the dock is
Probably 6.
4 goats and 2 white cows of the finest stock from our best farmers. And I'm gonna put that in the chat. So those are the gifts that you guys get. I don't know why Kyra said that.
But is there a partridge in a pear tree? She's our scribe. She inventories everything.
She does. There is a part. No, there isn't. So she describes all that for you, and as you're sort of making your way to the helm of the ship, she pulls you aside and she makes sure that her servants are not around, and she produces from her from within her clothes a very curious bronze item. It looks almost like a very complicated compass, with a assortment of gears and such. And she says, as you know, the Cerulean Gulf and the Forgotten Sea are vast and harbor many dangers, and some of your destinations may even vanish or shift by the workings of primal powers. The Antikythera is a cunning device, utilizes both magic and mechanical ingenuity to chart a safe path across oceans.
Likely be very
How
useful
long?
indeed.
How long have you had that?
I have been waiting for it to be of use, and now it is. I have many things that you do not know of, Megas.
I'm sure.
But and I'm just going to keep it.
What?
I just wanted to show it to you.
She opens it up, and the gears sort of spin, and you can see designs of stars along its backdrops. She says every island in the sea is attuned with a particular constellation in the night sky. By selecting a constellation on the device, you may chart a course to its associated island. And Kyra's like, I've been telling them about constellations. I hope they've been listening.
Is she giving us the fast travel button?
Oh, no. It's more that the sea is just very, very difficult to navigate. Basically, most sailors stick to the shores or the coastlines anytime they sail anywhere. It's just far too dangerous to sail straight across anything.
Sure, just in a video game, this would be fast travel.
Right. It's not really the fast travel. It's like now you have a map. Like now you know where to go.
Yay.
Mm-hmm. She says, unfortunately, and actually, Theo, you would probably notice this. I'm going to say you notice that there's something missing. Do you say anything?
I'll keep it to myself for now.
Okay. She sort of throws you a glance. She says, unfortunately, a gear has been stolen from this device. As best as I did, tried to protect it. I believe that the Order of Sidon is responsible for the theft. In which case, Gaius almost certainly has the piece. Following his dramatic exit from Mitros at your last meeting, you will likely find him at the island fortress of Yonder. Until that gear is replaced, you'll be unable to navigate into the Forgotten Sea, though the Cerulean Gulf is still open to you. Basically, the Cerulean Gulf is like the closer body of water, and then the Forgotten Sea is further out and more dangerous.
Well, I guess we were going to have to go there sooner or later. Now it looks like sooner.
And I'll give you a list of locations. Actually, let's see. Navigating the oceans. I'll give that to you sometime tonight. But there's a list of islands, and they are associated with constellations. I believe there are some that you have already heard about. I think some of you... did I write this down? I forgot to write it down. Some of you, in some of your visions that you got when you drank from the horn of Balmetria, saw certain constellations. So I'll have to go back and double check which ones those were. I think Yonder was the one that Shade saw.
Yeah, Shade saw the Geigen.
Yeah, the Geigen. Right. So we'll confirm all that tonight. But so she hands it outstretched. Who will safeguard it? Please do not lose this, lest you be lost.
She would kind of glance at Magus and Theo. Oh, if no one else, I will hold it.
She sort of like hand over hand as you clasp your hands around it. She has her hands around it too. And she says, do you have it? Say the words.
I have it.
A little Halo Reach, a little Easter egg there.
Yeah.
Now you have the Antikythera device. Vulcan, he shouts over from the dock. Says, "Hey, I just remembered something. I'm not gonna come over there, but that Keladone I've been working on. Now that she can fly, I'm gonna send her with you to bring back materials if you find anything. I managed to work in a modified bag of holding in her torso, so thanks to Theo's help, so she won't lose any speed if you load her up with ore. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say."
Nice.
I can just imagine Ballas's eye roll at her. Basically, a dad fitting in.
He is certainly a master of subtlety. When everything looks like a peaceful moment you can break with loud shouting, every tool you have is a loud shout. Anyway, the hammer nail reference that I didn't quite execute correctly. She snaps her fingers, and a little bridge is laid over from the dock to the Ultros, and about 6 of her servants carrying a little like sort of Ark of the Covenant style thing, where they have the poles over their shoulders, and there's a chest that's being carried by them. They come over to you, and this is a great gilded chest, and you can see a small window on its lid through which a certain amount of golden light shines through.
And what is this, Your Majesty?
Look inside.
I look inside.
There is a gold dragon egg inside.
I just kind of blink.
Aesop kind of like pushes you aside. Wait, let me see, Magus. Whoa, Lady Valis, this is a brilliant find. Where did you get it? I have held this egg in my possession for centuries. No one, and by this point the servants have left. No one, not even Acastus, knows of it. Humbly, my lady, that does not really answer my question. Indeed.
Did you not hear her when she said she has many things we don't know about?
She looks at you and nods. Says, indeed, it does not, good Aesop. Heroes, she looks at all of you. The time has come for this egg to pass to you. You have shown yourself upright in character, brave in spirit, and noble in purpose. My husband, King Acastus, proclaims himself to be the leader of the new Dragonlord Order, but his ambition is borne up by vanity and insecurity. Even now, behind closed doors, he fumes at your success in reclaiming the Ultros, which he hoped would spell your ultimate demise. This gold dragon egg is being kept in a magical stasis of my own design. When you are ready, I can send you this text if you need it. I'm gonna wait for you to finish typing. Okay. This gold dragon egg is being kept in magical stasis of my design. When you are ready, you need only dismiss the enchantment. Magus, gifted one, you represent the best of our fair city of Mitros. Your passion and dedication for her people and traditions shines bright like the light of our Silver Queen whose name she bears. You are a man of freedom, so I must warn you, this is no gift. If you accept it, you will be challenged. Can I trust you to care for this creature that I have cared for like my own child?
I could never refuse a request of yours, my lady, even if it weren't a dragon egg.
Very well. Then I entrust it to you.
I am humbled and excited beyond words.
That is good. She turns to the rest and says, my final news to you is, unfortunately, the most grave. It has been known that the Oath of Peace would someday end, and end soon. What was not known for certain is how much time we had precisely. This I now know, and so you must know too. What is everybody thinking right now?
Oh fuck.
Well, I guess things went from hectic to incredibly hectic.
Like, yeah, this is Mega sees this as more of a limitation on his freedom than the dragon egg.
Fair, okay. What about Theo?
Theo's like, man, I'm glad we just got done with our crafting montage.
And Theagenes.
Expects there will be lots of people to bury soon.
Oh man, good stuff. She says, the Oath of Peace has but 3 months before its end.
How can we even be ready in 3 months? We...
we cannot be dragon riders in 3 months.
My same emotions. But that is the truth. You have until that time to confront Sidon in his tower at Praxis and Lutheria on her throne in the Nether Sea. You would be wise to gather what power you can on your journey. With the right knowledge, you might negotiate a new oath of peace to buy more time for our people and for you. And with sufficient power, you might resist the Titan's wrath should diplomacy fail you. But know this, if you do not succeed, the armies of the Titans will march forth to slaughter the people of Mitros and soak the land in its blood. And that, I'm afraid, is the only beginning, or only the beginning.
Then we will be ready in 3 months.
She nods at that. She says, I wish we had more time. And had I known sooner, I don't know if I could have even told you, because what would it have done if you weren't prepared to the point you are now? But you have continually impressed and surprised, and I only tell you this now because I have some hope that you can actually succeed. If I didn't believe in you, I simply would not tell you.
Megan's their thoughts right now are like just kind of panicked by the magic question mark.
Question mark indeed. Yeah, any other remarks on this topic before she moves on? Okay, she sort of bucks up and, takes a deep breath. So, before you embark, I offer you some final parting wisdom. Gifted ones, Magus, Theo, together you are capable of incredible works of creation and restoration. Your skills will be essential in bringing back the former glory of the true Dragonlords. One path to this glory is to locate the fortress of the Dragonlords. My research leads to the Garden of Helios, the ancient sun god of legend.
Does that correspond to a constellation?
It does, and I can't remember which one, but I'll give it to you
cool.
later.
Her saying this, does that ring any bells for Shade?
I don't think so. I think maybe you have heard legends, legends in the sense that they may or might not even be true. Like almost tall tales. Like there's this golden god out there somewhere who just lives on an island by himself. And
I was referring more to the Fortress of the Dragonlords.
Oh, right, of course. Of course. Right. Yeah. Yes, indeed. So the Fortress of the Dragonlords was something that Xander had a big part in it, but Telemach and Estor, and that not only was it a legendary stronghold that Dragonlords fought out of, it also probably houses a good amount of treasure.
Ooh.
Like Dragonlord specific treasure.
Yeah. I feel like Shade might. It's one of those things. Shade might have get like a few like half remembered glimpses of it, but
Sure.
that's all.
Yeah. I mean, you remember this super tall tower with like dragon motifs made of just like impenetrable metal. I mean, this is not like a stone tower. It is a war machine almost. But in your glimpses of it sort of towering above you, you can't really remember what the surroundings looked like. In one flash of memory, you see like a mountain range behind it, and in another flash, you see the ocean, and in another flash, you see a forest, and so you're not sure like if your memory is failing you there.
Memory's been on the fritz for a while, so what?
What are you even good for?
Vague, half-remembered stuff. That's what.
Yeah. So I believe that is part of. Yeah. That's in Magus and Theo. That's in your epic path, which should be in your player handbook part. That's one of. I think that's one of your things you're supposed to accomplish in your epic path is finding the Fortress of the Dragonlords. She turns to Theagenes and she says, Theagenes, the psychopomp, I believe some have called you.
I do not use that name with many.
Well, I will promise not to use it outside this conversation. She peers deeply into your eyes. She says, I can see the chains that bind you to the masters who give you power. And I can see that you seek to throw off those chains. You would be wise to seek out your masters. With the company you now keep, you may stand a chance of reclaiming your freedom and truly finding the one you've lost. But be wary. The fates are capricious and cruel. Any deal you strike with them is laced with deceit. Additionally, consider seeking out the Lutherian priest Condrus on the island of Yonder. While I despise the man, and I warn you against trusting him, I do believe he is equipped to guide you to and through the Nether Sea.
Thank you. I will not put your wisdom to waste.
And I hope to see you again. Now I must return to Mitros.
Does Valis sense Magus's surface thoughts at the mention of Condrus?
She doesn't have the ability to do that. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, she. Yeah, but I don't think she said anything. I think if anything, the verbiage she uses with Theagenes is laced with like sort of addressed to you, even though she's facing away. So yeah. She says, now I must return to Mitros. The king may be distracted with preparations for the great games, but now, more than ever, my presence there is needed. You can reach me anytime. Please do not hesitate.
I bow.
Jade would also bow and say, thank you, Lady Valis.
I hope this is...
Yes.
I hope this is not the last time we see each other face to face. Anyway, one last thing. We passed the Minotaur that you freed from Proximo's market. He is on his way here, but insisted on walking the rest of the way. Something about the goats looking too delicious to sit next to on a crowded boat.
You have to take the cabbage across first.
What?
It's the saying. You have to get 3 animals across. They all want to eat each other. So in what order do you take them across? So you have to take the cabbage first.
Oh
so
my gosh. I've never heard that. Okay.
You actually don't take the... Whatever. Never mind.
And she is referring, of course, to Bullbug, the Minotaur that that you met at the Minotaur Market.
Wait, he's coming to us?
Oh, right. You...
I thought he was with Magus's family.
I forgot about that.
I mean, he'd be fun to have around.
Hold on. Forget I said I forgot about that, and pretend I said instead, huh, that's weird.
Surprise, Adrian is coming too, and the rest of Magus's family. They're moving on to the ship.
No.
What, you don't want to go adventuring with your mom?
Come on, there's plenty of room.
Like, yeah, I'm just going to, like, head into, like, the teeth of Sidon's, like, fortress of greatest danger with my grandparents next to me, who I care deeply about and don't want any harm to come to.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they feel the same way, and they want to be right next to you to keep you safe.
Anyway.
Boom! Family!
Well, she begins to leave, and she leaves you with the chest containing the golden egg, and the servants have offloaded the rest of the treasure onto the ship. So yeah, so what are y'all talking about?
Aesop, where do I put this?
I don't know. It seems to be in a decently portable container, so anywhere, I guess, just anywhere safe.
Oh, okay. I guess, can you guys help me carry this to my room?
Sure thing. Oh, Aesop, get your hiking boots. We're gonna need to go hiking pretty soon here.
I don't own hiking boots. Can you just make me some? Do you guys do that?
Maybe Vulcan might.
Kyra says, you can borrow mine, Aesop. I think you're my size. Fine. Magus, I've seen you cast like a disc thing. I can just sit on that, right?
That implies that I'm going hiking.
Fine. Well, here's the thing. If it's a golden dragon egg, I believe the conditions are similar.
Oh, well, fine.
Magus, yeah, I'm gonna need you to do your magic-y talky thing to Damon, and ask him if he can like part the clouds for a bit.
Right.
Up on the Necropolis.
Mm-hmm. Magus's mind is like kind of mush right now.
Sure.
There's been
a lot to take in.
Yeah. So, like, are we heading there now, or are we what?
Probably not now, but very soon. We should probably make sure we have our things together and our affairs in order.
Okay.
I imagine if we only have 3 months, we're going to need to get these eggs hatched in pronto and get moving.
Okay. Okay. Let me know when we're about to leave, and I'll message him.
Cool.
I just put a note that the Oath of Peace will end on Skilios the 30th. Wait, so are you contacting Damon, or?
I mean, I guess first we got to figure out what all we're doing. Shade's just like trying to lay the groundwork for once we're ready to leave here, we should be heading there, hatch some eggs, and then go about whatever's next.
Right.
So we're ready.
Right.
Yeah, and Magus is thinking, like, we're not going to leave immediately, and we're not going to arrive immediately. So, like, until we know when we're going to be departing, he's not going to message
right.
Damien quite yet.
Let me get you a list of the constellations and destinations. Copy that and paste in there. I'll paste it somewhere better later, but should now see a list of the constellations and destinations in the Cerulean Gulf. I right now am not going to include the Forgotten Sea matchups, but the ones I think you've been familiarized with so far are the Island of Yonder, which is associated with the Gigan, Fire Island, I think, which is the island that Bisk, the lizard folk, wants to go to. Mm-hmm. There's of course the Island of the Fates, and there is Scorpion Island, which is the island that the centaur, the scorpion cursed centaur, what is his name?
I had it just a minute ago.
Folon, yes, thank you. And then Indigo Island, which the sign of the Queen, which I think Shade saw in a vision regarding Finea. So yeah. So I think before next time, if you actually, do you guys want to talk right now about like which of these destinations you want to head to first?
I'd want to call around a little bit first before I make a decision on that.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Shade's vote, at least off the top, would be Fire Island and Scorpion Island first.
Mm-hmm.
See if we can get some more allies.
Yeah.
Because it seems like the next big thing we need to go do is the Island of Yonder, and Shade's not really eager to jump straight into another conflict with Gaius.
Yeah, well, and also note that Island of Yonder is the headquarters for the Order of Sidon, and is gonna be a lot, and it gets heavily defended. There's lots of soldiers there. It's gonna be a challenge. So
so we want help.
Yeah, or level up a little bit.
Or a lot, you know.
You can go there if you want. It's fine. Yeah. Anyway.
That's off the top.
Okay. Well, yeah, we don't have to make a decision now. We can sort of wrap that into next session. But yeah, so what's sort of the discussion now?
I would call Shade into my room and have him guide me through the oath of protection for the dragon egg.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yes, I would definitely do that. Explain to it. Shade kind of explains like the actual words of the oath are less important than the intent behind them. Like, it's critical that you mean this. And each oath is interpreted slightly differently between the guardian and the dragon, but they all usually come to the same effect, which is you're basically taking responsibility for this creature to raise it and protect it.
And I will take the oath.
Okay. I don't think there is the same sort of like physical sensation or change, but you do feel something. And I mean, this is different for you, Magus, because you are kind of the first primary person to be like, oaths, I don't like that. How is this different?
this is different as like one, like I've kind of said before that Valis is the only person that Magus views through like rose-tinted glasses, and like she is the only person that he has bowed to, who has shown deference to, like, and she has tasked him with protecting this egg. So like it is an order from like the one person that he would take orders from. It is also a dragon egg. This is a step toward his grand goal of becoming a dragon rider, and like he isn't just someone who like takes the good things and doesn't want to put in the work. He puts in the work if he has to, and he's known that dragon riders took an oath to be with between their bonded. So he knew that this was coming eventually. Okay. And then also he knows that we don't have time to worry about that stuff anymore. So
right,
all right, things are serious now.
I love that. Yeah. So the ritual goes perfectly. I mean, Shade is a great teacher, and you do have the internal conviction, and you mean it. So there's no repeating it. It is done. The words you said are the words that will have been said for all time. And however you feel different, you do so. Whether that's a small physical mark or just something that you hold inside, that's up to you.
I'll think about that.
Okay, you think about it. This is a cool sort of like shared moment between Magus and Shade, because I mean, I feel like you guys are both like excited and purpose-driven about dragons, but in fairly different ways. And this is sort of an intersection between those two ambitions. And Falvin says, "I am a Medusa," over in the corner.
Exactly.
How did he get in there?
Yeah.
I would also call together Aesop, Vulcan, and Theo.
Okay.
And I would say like Theo, I couldn't help but overhear your discussion with Rue about taking an oath. And I wonder if that might be a good idea.
Don't give him ideas.
No,
see, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh my god.
Magus, you're my favorite.
You said earlier that a spark of Theo had gone into Rue.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
That Rue is different from other constructs. Do you believe, and I'm looking between Vulcan and Aesop, that it would be possible for Theo to take an oath of the Dragon Rider to Rue?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Rue, do you feel like you're a dragon? Come on.
Absolutely.
Come on, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
you think it, therefore you are it. It's a classic Vulcan line.
Yep. Heard it many times.
So here's the thing. It would be the first time it's ever been done, but worth a shot. What's gonna happen?
Don't know.
Well,
you tell me.
So along with that, the oath between Dragon Riders, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Aesop, it does carry with it risks. If the dragon is slain, the Dragon Rider will soon follow.
That is an unfortunate reality. I mean, exceptions, I suppose, have occurred, looking at you, Shade, but yes, if the, not the oath of protection that you and Shade have taken with the egg necessarily, but the oath of the bonded oath of the, the one that Shade has, that he bears.
However, there is a protection against that. And that is that those who bear a dragon helm, and I will take out my helm now.
Where were you keeping that, Megas? Where were you keeping that?
Who said that?
Kyra.
Okay, Kyra. I guess where I store all like things in my inventory.
Go on.
Can resurrect a bonded dragon without using resurrection magic, or like there are a limited number of scrolls. It means that if Rue were to fall again, it means that I or you or Shade even, I believe, could bring him back.
Sounds like what you're saying is there's no rules for old Rue there. I can just run in and slam my head against anything.
It does cost 1,000 gold.
Ah. Well, there's that. It's time to rob a bank.
1,000 gold. 1,000 gold not being used on your upgrades.
Where's that one noble that had all the gold?
Take everything to the most.
Hey, that's
Let's
right.
go.
Let's get him to finance.
We've got a pirate ship. Let's roll.
Let's finance my
Robin Hood
misadventures.
Arms dealer. Let's do it.
So yeah, that is up to you, I guess. And also, like, for helping me with the helm, like, I could now bring Rue back.
That would be nice. What do you say? Should we say some words?
I know how to speak. I know how to say words. I'm a smart bird.
You sure are. Look at you, all shiny, oiled up.
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
This got weird.
Shh, Magus, just let it happen.
Rue just looks at you and says, "Get oathed."
Get oathed. And we do it right there in front of everyone.
Yep. Kyra says, it's beautiful to see.
Absolutely. Did it work?
Yes, I feel some kind of warmth.
Cool.
All right, cool, man.
Let's do this again next year, all right? Don't be a stranger.
I'll re-up my bond subscription.
Yep.
Okay. You guys are all oathed up now. I think the day probably wraps up to an end. Is there anything else going on?
Yeah, I still got the stuff.
Okay.
And this could be happening today or in like some of the coming days, but I will go to Demetria. And I will say to her, I know a great deal about wizard magic. I know some about sorcery. I can pray. I do not know druidcraft. And I think that there is potential in Sprout Ultria, unrealized by anyone. If, with your aid, I could teach her.
You think her ready?
She is more ready than she knows. She did things unthought of before she was even awakened.
Before she knew the risks she was in.
We will start small.
You must, as the seed must start small before it becomes a tree or something like that. Well, I will use my intuition and your education and her eagerness.
And I will spend time with Sprout, trying to tap into Thelian magic and the connections that she showed at the necropolis last time.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the spell that I'm looking to unlock now is our discussed magic mirrors spell.
Okay. We'll maybe have like the first inklings of success with that. We'll say that some of this maybe has been preemptively taught like in the last week or two. What does that sort of look like?
The process of teaching?
No, it's like what is like the first, like, you know, when you have that first tiny eureka moment where something the first spark of your prestidigitation, you know, like
right. So that would look like we would have a pool of water and gathered around it, and she would be like starting to reach out, and like just kind of the first faint, like the first faint visage of Damon appears, as I'm using him as our first contact subject. And he, like, we can see that he takes note, and then it fades.
She jumps back. Damon is a very scary looking dude. She's, who was that? Oh no, he's very scary.
Oh no, he's fine. He is a friend, and
I thought we were calling Damon.
Practitioner.
You know Damon?
I see confusion.
He was very dark and not daylight. He was more like Nightman.
Sometimes
I'm so proud of you. They grow so fast.
Sometimes people change beyond their names. You will not always be a Sprout.
What will you call me then?
I do not know.
Twig?
I like that.
But he is incredibly powerful. He is dangerous to those who would do harm to the dragons.
Just like you.
The Dragonlords. Just like me. Though he is gruffer than me. He's not as good at talking.
Oh.
But I feel that if...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, but I feel that if anyone could help us or give us feedback from this spell from the other side, on the receiving end, on how to better improve the connection, I think it would be him.
The man who can only grunt. Yeah.
You know, but also the man who like was able to do a super identify, like 9th level identify spell.
Yes. Yeah, I'd say that goes really well. And this is the most success you get now. And like we'll say that like probably in the next session you'll be able to do a full cast of it. But yeah, you've tapped into an ability to long distance see somebody else through a puddle of water using Thelian magic.
Yep. And then last on my list for now is for the day I will cast Sending, and I will contact Argon.
Gaius's dragon, Argon?
Yes.
What do you say when you reach out to Argon?
Okay.
Choose thy words carefully.
Bonded. Oh, yeah. I've had time to think about this.
Okay.
Your bonded hates my friend. My other friend hates you for killing his bonded. I lament that an accord seems beyond hope. What a waste.
Argon, in return, says, the hatred we share is warranted by all, and your lamentation is what is wasted. And that's all she says. But she spoke to you.
She did speak to me. Warranted by all, as in
like everybody who you said, everybody who you said hates the other has right to hate each other.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like Gaius has right to hate Shade, and who was the other example you used?
And Theo hates Argon.
Yep. Totally.
But she also said like lamentation is wasted, so I guess it's like it's how it is.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, yeah, tell me something new, basically.
Okay. I will send another sending to her.
Okay.
And I will say, Acastus's dragons are aged artificially. Minds of infants in adolescent bodies. Regardless of shared animosity, they will need help.
She says, like the help that you provide the infants of your kind who suffer in Mitros. And that's all she says.
Well,
referring, you would gather she's referring to Lutheria's sacrifice of children.
Yep, I mean, there's so much more to say, but I think we're done for now.
Yep. But this is the thing, like, the last time you tried sending to her, she didn't even respond at all. So, like, you've made a little bit of headway, even though she's... And, you know, you also have to assume she's probably going to tell Gaius, or maybe not. Who knows? That...
Yeah, like, I haven't said anything that I would be too caught up about making it back to Gaius.
Either way implies something. So, cool. Anything else people are doing before I lead into a new thing?
Shade, now that we have a definite timeline, would probably start preparing for the trek, or however we decide we're going to get up to the necropolis again. Or if Damon can't break the clouds, whatever the nearest really tall peak that we can get up, he'd be preparing for that trek, as well as he'd be talking with Vulcan about what it would be, well, probably Vulcan and Novus, about what can be finished within 3 months to be ready for basically all-out conflict with the Titans. He'd be trying to nail that down. I mean, you don't have to talk specifics now, but that's the type of conversations he would be having. He's in tactical mode or strategic mode right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, let's get the logistics hammered out.
Yeah, I mean, I think his short answer would be like, hey, like it's one thing, like providing weapons armament for like an army. It's another thing building legendary weapons for heroes who can like strike at, you know, the heart of things, which is you. So their sort of their mindset so far has been like, let's make quality gear for, you know, people on the front lines. But now it's like, hey, we only have this much time. You guys need to get out there and you're going to be finding all kinds of stuff. We need to be focusing on making you stuff from what you find. Because that's where it's going to be of most effect. You know, a +1 bronze sword is not going to be that different from a normal bronze sword in the hands of a normal soldier. But right. the right powerful items and armor can really make the biggest difference. So I think he would encourage you, get out there, find that rare stuff, send it back to me as fast as you can, and I'll try to whip it up as fast as I can. I mean, Mitros, you know, Mitros is doing its own thing, you know. I guess right. You don't know if Acastus knows when the Oath of Peace ends, or if he takes it seriously, or what he's doing about it. I mean, you know that they're building a dragon platoon, basically, so that's something. And you know, they have an army. They're not totally unprepared, but they still need to be rallied, and that's something that Valis will be working on her end.
And that's something else Shade would probably ask Magus to do, because Magus has met oh my word, what is Iron Sentinel's captain in
Silas.
Yes, I kept trying to think and say Simon, but I was like, that's not it. You ask Magus to message Simon at some point, or Silas at some point, and tell him just that we have a hard date for the end of the Oath of Peace. We're going to need the Iron Sentinels in most likely.
Yeah.
Just tell them consolidating forces.
Yep, I will relay that.
Cool. Sweet. Any final thoughts from Theagenes or Theo?
Theagenes is just wondering how we can optimize our time since we only have 3 months left, and I feel like we should talk to one another about that.
Yeah.
Because this, you know, we need a plan. I do think that somehow, I mean, if it's possible to hatch dragon eggs in 3 months, then that's good. But will they even be old enough to help us do anything in that time?
Yeah, you know that when a dragon is first hatched, it has basically the stats of like Rue 2.0, which is like a dragon wormling. So they're definitely like they're definitely a threat. But you know, they're not big enough to ride unless you're a small creature. But they, you know, they have some abilities. I mean, yeah.
Okay. Well then, I mean, does seem like a priority, but I'm wondering which of these islands we should visit first.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to ask the team what they think, the party.
I think maybe what we could do, since I did present you a lot of information all at once, maybe between this session and next session, in the like player chat in our Discord, we could sort of talk, like we can message back and forth about what what you guys know about each of these island options. I can chime in if there's anything you're forgetting, and you can sort of come up with like a quasi game plan before next session, or like prior to next session, and then we can hit the ground running. So, because I know that there's probably a lot that is just sort of been mentioned off and on throughout the campaign about various of these islands. So don't feel like you have to make a decision this second. I think that probably trying to hatch the eggs or as soon as possible is probably a good call. Because regardless of how old they are, they're only going to be younger the longer you wait. So that's something.
And I was taking the stance, and it really kind of from what Shade knows is like, especially the egg in the Ultros, it's been sitting in basically incubation conditions for centuries, so it should just basically need to be exposed to like the last part of the catalyst to hatch it. So he's not expecting to be like, we're not going to hike up the mountains and camp up there for 3 more weeks. Like,
no. Whatever happens will be in the manner of like a few days.
Right.
DM disclosure. But yeah, so we can just sort of chat. You can do it in character. You don't have to in our Discord, and then we'll get sort of a game plan for your voyage forth. So I think we get one more of Falbin saying that he's a Medusa as you pass him in the hallway.
He looks like a very tired Medusa, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's true.
It does.
Did I ever get the a scroll from the Academy for how to do the secret chest spell?
Oh, yeah, we'll say that was something that Valis brought with her. I forgot to mention.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then before next session, I will expend the gold and put it in my spellbook.
Okay. So we'll say that it's been a long day, and it's like what is sort of the watch order, and where do you guys stay in the mines? You can place your tokens wherever you stay.
It's gotta be sick. Token right where I want it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Come on over here, Rue. We gotta get tokened. Shopping like nobody's business. We're just making so much stuff over here.
So you guys are in the workshop. That's kind of your thing. You work late into the night.
Yeah, I got my coffee.
Yep.
You're talking about how warm Rue's soul is now. His spark is now a flame.
Sure is. Where does Theagenes hang out?
I think that I'm okay. So, correct me if I'm wrong. You guys all have like rooms because this is the group's hideout, or something.
It is, yeah. A few of the rooms are like just tacked on by me, and I will probably add more. So like, it doesn't have to be like a permanent spot. Although if you guys get really, particular about it, it can be. But
oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I think Theagenes is gonna since he's prepping for this journey, he wants to make some comfortable space on the ship, probably in the hold where he's been spending so much time.
Okay, yeah. So that's totally fine if you want to like sleep in there. So it gets pretty late in the night. Do you guys have a watch order, or like do you guys just sort of rest whenever?
I assume that this place is safe and under the watch of we have 2 gods and a fire salamander.
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch of dwarves upstairs.
That's true. So. That's true. Yeah, not that it matters. Okay, so about like 10 o'clock, it starts to. You can't really hear this because of the water outside. But if you ever, like Theo, you looking out of your workshop, you can see that it's starting to rain atop of the water. And every now and then there's like a small like rumble of thunder in the distance. And about, I don't know, like 1 o'clock, Magus, you hear some heavy, like, actually make a perception check. Or sorry, Theo, since you're here.
Okay. Man, wait till you see how much I perceive. This is gonna be sick. Boom.
Wow.
Get perceived.
23, nice. Through the low rumble of thunder, you hear what sounds like bipedal hoof steps coming up the steps.
I'll stick my head out, see if I see anything.
You just hear the hoofs coming up.
Okay. Hooves. Probably a demon bull guy from a
Bullbug.
maze.
Or Bullbug or Graxus.
Murder.
There are 2 options.
Could be a murder maze. Minotaur. I'll kind of mosey on over with my red light. Going on over here. Are these the stairs?
Yeah, these are the stairs. You round the corner, and you do see a Minotaur figure, and it's wet, covered in it's got a shroud over it, but you see the horns kind of sticking out from the shroud, sort of slowly huffing up the steps.
How you doing?
It comes about 10 feet from you and stops and just stands there.
Okay, well, come on in. We got a fire.
Right.
Everybody's welcome here.
Follows you in.
Hey guys, I got a rando here who's not showing his face. Probably our buddy, the Minotaur maze, the maze Minotaur.
The Minotaur follows you to the entrance of the room, and from the light of the forge, you can see a great axe underneath the cloak, one that you recognize, not Bullbug's, but indeed Graxus's.
Big G, how's it hanging?
Didn't we take that from Graxus? And
nah.
By that I meant a similar great axe that is not the one you took. No,
weren't those things lying around everywhere?
I don't think we didn't take his.
No, you didn't take his. You took one from the skeleton minotaurs. So I stand by what I said before. It is his.
Fine.
And floating just behind him are 2 single-eye, multi-tentacle, large-mouthed creatures that are horrifying to look at. And Graxus looks at you, Theo, and says, "The lady is merciful." And that is where we will end our session.
Love the lady. Very merciful.
Yeah, so we'll roll some initiative next time. There's nothing threatening about that.
No. Woohoo! I like that he brought some cute friends.
Yes, he did. They are very cute. You just fucking walked him in there.
Yeah. Come on in, buddy.
I love it. Okay. Yeah. Any questions? Any thoughts?
We just couldn't get away with not fighting him.
Yeah. Seeing as my full rest only takes 4 hours, did I get a full rest in?
Yeah.
Okay. After all the sending spells, I got everything.
Oh
back.
yeah,
Cool.
that's fine. Yeah, hey, I figured you guys wanted to know what he was up to, so I just had him come to you.
Oh, yeah, that's why you did this.
I mean, it is actually.
I love this guy.
Take some of the
He's
guesswork
so
out.
loud and proud. Remember that time we were in a death maze?
He remembers
Such a
it
good
perfectly with his labyrinthian recall.
I love it.
Oh boy.
Cool. Anyway, any highlights, any shout outs? Or did you guys all just suck at D&D today?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I mean, I just like to put Fallen up for inspiration. That I am a Medusa.
My God, so
he did that
powerful.
perfect.
Nailed it.
So,
Yep.
just
I think it was just
dripping with
like
drama.
his presence.
Yeah.
Yeah, his presence.
Like
was just in
I
the corner,
am
reassuring.
a Medusa.
I am.
Man,
I always forget.
you always forget that he's a Medusa.
Yep. That's why he's got to remind
Sometimes
me.
it's like, what the hell are those sneaks on his head? Who knows?
Exactly. What's that doing?
What is that?
Weird shower cap.
Not that it's not at all deserved, but any other shout outs?
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
No, please. I love it.
I thought everybody did really good. I appreciated Diogenes' deal with the bones, even going so far as to like camp on the ship when we have like the whole hideout, because that's like what he's been working on and stuff.
Right, there's like a level of ownership there.
I appreciated him stepping up to be like, "Hey guys, let's use our time wisely now that we have a deadline." Because it's like, we just kind of can get carried away. We're like, oh well, yeah, of course, dragons are the number one thing. I mean, it's Odyssey of the Dragonlords. It's like, oh well, will they actually be helpful or a liability? Like,
right.
I am all about deadlines.
Deadlines, yeah. Hey. Bada bing. Shout out, I know it's a little like retroactive, but shout out to Davey for providing the voice for the voice of Io, the god of the dragons.
That was well done. Well done.
That was cool.
Yeah. I can post that recording in the Discord for y'all to hear again if you want. Yeah, he came up with the dialogue and everything, and I just whipped up a little voice effect for it. So I liked that a lot. Let's see. I thought Magus' suggestion of like having Rue and Theo also bond with each other was fun.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It's clearly their own way of doing things, which is that's just how they work, which I love. Yeah. Any immediate thoughts about like where we're going from now that, I mean, your characters know that there's a deadline now, but now you as the players know. I mean, I'm sure you knew. Actually, I wanna know what your guesses were. What did you feel like when did you feel like the Oath of Peace was gonna end? Or was it just not on your mind?
Not really.
Like you said, it would be when it was narratively appropriate. So I was expecting more time to get dragons going.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, that sounds like narratively convenient, not narratively appropriate.
Well, seeing as this is the Odyssey of the Dragonlords, I assumed dragon riding.
Oh, so to be a dragon lord, you have to sit on top of a dragon. Yeah. Hey, don't limit your own possibilities. Just because I've offered you a problem doesn't mean you can't find a solution.
Yeah,
I mean, you could always be a bigger dragon that just holds you in its hand and carries you around. That's fine too.
Airspeed velocity of a dragon with a human in its talons.
That's true. Yeah.
What if dragon sits on you?
That's it. Yeah, Magus, maybe you just need to get bigger. No, but like
that sounds like a possibility for Shade.
There you go. No, but the conundrum is part of it, right? Like it is the conundrum that led Acastus to make a decision that you guys rightfully judge him about.
Yeah.
But it is something to think about. So, but that does mean that, hey, it's only 3 months before the Oath of Peace ends. Doesn't mean it's 3 months before all your problems are over.
It's 3 months before
if we play it right, it will be.
Really start.
or rather, if we play it wrong, it will be when all of our problems are over.
Right, exactly. So anyway, I know it's kind of a shock, but know that it is a big magical world out there, and yeah, this is a challenge. So just definitely chat about stuff in the Discord between now and next week, and if there's anything like preparation wise for embarkation that I need to know, let me know. Ideally, if you guys pick an island, I'd like to be able to prep for it before we get underway, just so that I have it ready to go. But next time we're starting with combat, so there's that. Unless you don't fight him, we'll see. You could run and hide.
We'll just swear allegiance to Lutheria, and it'll be great.
Yeah.
Let him just take Falbin. No fight, no questions asked.
Honestly, that might work.
I mean, I set up the trap so that Vulcan and the murder machine are already flanking him, so it's perfect.
You did. The thing is, Vulcan. It seems like Graxus is a servant of Lutheria.
Yeah.
So I think Vulcan's hands are tied here.
Well, but his machine isn't, is it?
Yeah, but it's also not really a combat machine. It's like, maybe.
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know that, right? Yeah, because I haven't told you.
Look out! You're flanked by the mailman.
Yeah, it's got lasers, right?
Yeah, we'll see.
Amazon delivery service.
We'll see. Oh man. What should we
deliver? A box of death right to their door.
You do have Novus, who is not bound by any oath.
Yeah. Yeah, so. I want to see Novus in combat.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
I wanted to just be flinging molten metal at Graxus the whole time.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool. We'll see how it goes.
Let's see if Aesop, he's standing right there. You could get in on this action.
Aesop,
yeah.
Aesop's a reader, not a fighter.
Yeah, he seems pretty solidly in the non-combatant category.
He just writes fan fiction about people who fight. Or not fiction. He writes true facts about history. So what should we name this hunk of junk? I mean, my default was going to be something like the, I don't know, actually.
Another egg?
We have it.
What'd you say, Magus?
We have a deadline?
We have a deadline?
Spicy words.
What'd you say?
Or
spicy words.
Spicy words?
Or oaths and deadlines.
Oaths and deadlines is pretty good. I like that. Hey, the return of Uncle Timon.
Yep, that's what this episode was about.
It's been far too long. Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch like the statistics on YouTube of this episode, and it's just gonna be spiking where Uncle Timon is. I'll get you guys a time. The only timestamp in the description will be Uncle Timon's arrival.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. That's all you need. Really, we're gonna do a super cut once the campaign ends of just everything Uncle Timon does and says. Yeah.
Call that episode Timon Time.
Timon Time. Cool. Well, I think that's all I have for you guys. But we can hang out a little bit afterward. But thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.